Right everyone, we're going back in time a little bit for you, back to Saturday lunchtime, about 12:30, and I find myself in Airdrie. But before you start thinking about calling doctors and worrying about my mental health, I'm here for a good reason, because I'm here to watch the Celtic B team in action for the first time now. It's their very first season in the Lowland League, you've probably heard that, so I thought we could bring you a video today, a bit of a vlog, a bit of an explainer about the whole situation they find themselves in their first season in the Lowland League. They are 7th in the table. They do have a number of games in hand though, and hopefully if they can get a win today against Broomhill FC, it'll really shoot them up the league table. Note I said Broomhill FC. Celtic got that wrong earlier in the week. It's a team that used to be BSC Glasgow. Celtic were going by their old name. We had a brilliant reply, brilliant banter really from Broomhill FC, saying that they were playing Boston Celtic. So, you know, the jokes are flying. Hopefully the football's flying as well. But let's go back a little bit before we talk about this afternoon and I get into the kind of vlog aspect of this video. And let's take a look at why Celtic find themselves in the Lowland League. Let's go back to Hamish in the studio. Chat of Celtic and Rangers B teams playing in the lower leagues of Scottish football has never really been far away, but it actually came to fruition earlier this year in May when the Lowland League, which is the 5th tier of Scottish football, voted in favour of allowing Celtic B and Rangers B into the league for this season. There were 17 teams who had a vote and 11 of them voted in favour, 5 against and 1 club abstained. Now Celtic and Rangers each paid the Lowland League £25,000 for the opportunity to compete in the division. The plans are for this year and this year only at this stage, although there have been discussions going on with the SPFL to potentially restructure the leagues and allow Celtic B and Rangers B into the SPFL. Now, the Celtic B side is managed by Tommy McIntyre, who's been at the club since 2009. The former Celtic defender Darren O'Day is part of his coaching staff, but it is a mainly youth Celtic side. In fact, all youth. It's under 20s. You're allowed one under 21 player and you're allowed a goalkeeper who's under 21 as well. But this is a youth side, a development side. This isn't a Celtic reserve team. You're not going to see Christopher Julian rocking up at the Pennycar Stadium as he tries to find some minutes ahead of making his surge back into the first team. It's a youth team and it's important to remember that. Brilliant, thanks very much Hamish in the studio. And this is where we are at today. We're at the Pennycar Stadium in Airdrie, home of Airdrieonians. That's who plays here most of the time, but it's also the adopted home of the Celtic B team and also the Celtic women's team. They play their vast majority of their matches here at this pretty neat looking stadium. Let's get inside the ground and see what the atmosphere's like. Right, it's about 1 o'clock, literally about a minute to go until kick-off. I'm never great at really estimating crowds, but it's not a large crowd given that it's an international break with Celtic's full team not playing this weekend. We'd maybe hoped for a little bit more. Maybe the 1 o'clock kick-offs made it a bit more difficult for people. But looking forward to the game. It's an AstroTurf surface. We know we love them in the channel, so hopefully Celtic do the business today and hopefully we get to see some stars of the future playing their stuff and I'm able to act like a no more than you in future. Oh, remember that Joey Dawson guy? Great player. Have you seen him? Can I just say how much of a fan I am that they're just playing the exact same songs that we get at Celtic Park before every home game. Just real commitment to that gimmick. I wonder if they'll do You'll Never Walk Alone as well and Let's Make Some Noise for the Boys, etc. Let's have a wee look at the teams anyway. For Celtic we've got Ryan Mullen, Benny Jackson Loyeye, Brodie Patterson, Evan Easton, Dylan Corr, Joseph Murphy, Owen Moffat, Frankie Dean, Joey Dawson, Sanello, Let Souza and Ben Summers. Apologies for butchering any of those names. At least they got the opposition right on the team sheet, Broomhill FC. I'm quite looking forward to seeing Joey Dawson, I think the player that came up from Scunthorpe in the summer, and also of course Owen Moffat, a player who I would like to have seen in more full team squads already this season. The bench is Mitchell Robertson, Joe Morrison, the goalkeeper, Caleb Goldie, Lewis Dobby and Daniel Kelly. Referee Stephen Reid. Wonder if that's the former Blackburn player. Yep, exact same entrance tune, love to see it. Just like being at Celtic Park. Celtic players in the huddle. Right, that's the music died down and the game has begun, so I'm not actually going to record any of the match itself because I don't want to get in trouble with any relevant footballing authorities. The Lowland League coming for me, trying to sue me, etc. So we'll catch up at half time and I'll be speaking to a very special guest as well. Right, half time and it's 2-0 to Celtic over Broomhill FC. A couple of pretty good goals. As you can see, we've got a very special guest that I teased earlier, Lewis Laird, who is pretty much the go-to guy for anything development, Celtic B, loan players, etc. Lewis, welcome to the channel. Just tell us what it is. What's the fascination for you with the B team and the youngsters?
I think sort of looking towards last season, just watching loads of games of football, as I'm sure most people were with the lockdown and stuff, and I remember, I think it was one of Scott Robertson's games, watching Gillingham in the Cup at the start of the season, and I thought, I was just watching thinking, this isn't covered at all really, it's not covered by the club we're in, so I was like, I might as well give it a go and see how people like it, and people loved it, and that sort of carried over to this B team when you heard that they were going to be in the Lowland League, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to try and cover something that's quite niche.
He's doing a good job. You're doing a great job. I'll link Lewis's newsletter. He does, I think it's a weekly newsletter.
Every Monday or Tuesday I'll usually come out.
I'll put that in the description anyway. What have you made of the whole Lowland League experience so far, Celtic being in the league first season?
It's been interesting because obviously it's an experiment, and it's good to see the boys playing regular football, and even to get fans, even at the numbers it is. But I think a lot of people weren't sure what to expect for the Lowland League. There's different level of teams, I'd say, because I think there was one weekend so they were winning 10-0, and people would usually howl with the what's this level and stuff, but it's actually been very good for them playing against some good sides like Bonnyrigg Rose and East Kilbride. I think these sort of teams are financially backed as well, so they could play, I think, in League 2, and they'd be better than a lot of League 2 teams, so it's actually been a good experience seeing how they fare against some good players and teams.
Yeah, we were just chatting before saying that Broomhill have got a 39-year-old Michael Dunlop at centre half today, so I suppose it's that experience for the players as well to be able to play against veterans of the game that they wouldn't get in the development league.
No, exactly, and you said it yourself, playing against some players who have played at a higher level in some teams, and even at the regular football, getting to play every single week, it's crucial at this age.
Who's the obvious question everyone's want to know? Who are the stars of the future that you've seen so far this season?
Yeah, I think there's a few that definitely stand out and people see a lot about. The likes of Rocco Vatti's attracting a lot of interest for fans. In fact, he's the son of a former Celtic player as well. And Bosun Lawal, I'd say he's been the standout player this season. Coming in for Watford, and he's been very impressive at the back. They've certainly had the best defence in the league this season, and I think he's a big part of that alongside Dane Murray. But it's a squad full of talented players across the pitch, different ages. You've got players like Lowell away with under 19s with Ireland now, and Vata 16, but then you've got the likes of Ryan Mullen who's out warming up now for the second half, but
doesn't stop shouting the whole game.
I know. I suppose that's a good thing about a wee bit lesser crowds. You can hear these sort of things, and it's interesting. And obviously, like Mullen and Brodie Patterson have had loans at Queen's Park, so they can translate the sort of you'd say experienced players on the side against teams like this.
So is there another Callum McGregor, Kieran Tierney in this kind of, not necessarily playing today, but in this Celtic B squad?
You'd hope so, maybe not in those particular positions. I think you could pick all over the park and look for a standout player in midfield and stuff, and on the wings, and I think they've got a few talented central defenders in Murray and Lowell coming through, and it'll be interesting to see, especially after this season, going into pre-season, to see how they feature then. And
the tactics, for anyone who hasn't seen the team play, I know you've tweeted a few times, they actually play similar tactics to the first team, so I've not seen much of it today, but you get the inverted full-backs, you get the playing out from the back, the pressing. They've done a lot of that today.
Yeah, I think I'd say at the start of the season it was lesser, you didn't see it as much, and the full-backs, it's been regular Brodie Patterson and Benny Jackson-Lawai, and it started to sort of integrate. You can see it slowly coming in, and you see aspects of that play that under Ange, and it's always interesting to see, Steve McManus is regularly here, so you wonder what sort of input these guys have in the play style.
Yeah. And just finally, the crowd, we did kind of touch on it, but I'm a little bit surprised with it being an international weekend, no Celtic A team. I thought Saturday would maybe get a slightly better crowd, but you were saying it's been kind of a couple of hundred all season type thing.
Yeah, this is pretty much a regular crowd. It's never sort of packed out.
Club could do more to promote it.
I think at times they could be doing a bit more to be, especially I think as you mentioned the international break, it's a perfect time. There's no football in Scotland playing last night. There's not like an international game on today and the next one's on Monday, so it could be an opportunity to try and get fans along and maybe put a deal on for season ticket holders or something. Even if it was for just this game to try and entice them.
But Lewis is here every week, so if you come to a B team, you're likely to bump into Lewis. Thanks so much for your time, mate.
No bother at all. Thanks for having me on.
Right, so it's full time. I'm outside the ground now. Actually, a really enjoyable game, and I don't say that lightly. Brilliant match of football. 6 goals. Celtic got 4 of them. First half, Celtic were pretty good, I thought. They started the game with a pretty good tempo. Should actually have been behind after about 10 minutes. A really good opportunity for the Broomhill striker. But after that, they reacted. They were 2-0 up inside the first half. The first goal came through Frankie Dean, the smallest player in the park. Real diminutive winger. He kind of found a pocket of space and curled it into the corner. Really good finish. And then Joey Dawson, the guy I'd been chatting about before the game, the guy we signed from Scunthorpe in the summer. He scored a header from a set piece. Yes, I know Celtic scoring from set pieces at youth level. What's happening? So we were 2-0 up at half time. We spoke at half time with Lewis about the fact Celtic were playing against experienced players, and there weren't many in the Broomhill team. But 39-year-old Mick Dunlop, a centre back, former Ayr United, former Albion Rovers. He's not played at a massively high level in his career, but he's an experienced player. And they actually put him up top in the second half for the first part of the second half anyway, Broomhill, and basically played long diagonals to him. So it was interesting to see how Celtic dealt with that. Obviously younger players going up against a guy, as I say, it's 39 years old. In general, I thought they did well, but Broomhill did come into the game in the second half. They had a really good spell for about 20-25 minutes. They brought it level. Obviously scored a couple of goals, but then Celtic found a way to win the game. They got a couple of goals late on. Ben Summers scored in 82 minutes, a good driven shot, kind of left hand side of the box, driven into the near post. And then in 89 minutes, the substitute Lewis Dobie, who'd come on, scored the 4th goal to win the game 4-2 for Celtic. They actually had chances late on. I wouldn't say it was a scintillating performance from Tommy McIntyre's side at all, but there were certain moments in there you could see that the Celtic players were a class above the players playing in the opposition. A couple of really good moments. Owen Moffat, who I thought was pretty quiet in the game, had a brilliant moment in the lead up to, I think, the 3rd or the 4th goal, when the ball was just up in the air and he just killed it stone dead with his foot and also beat a man at the same time. It was a bit of absolute brilliance, and you can see that he's a massive talent. And the other guy I wanted to pick out was Sinelo Litsoza, who plays in the middle of the park. He's, again, relatively small, certainly has a lot of growth to do, both out the way and upwards as well, but has real good balance, real good control of the ball as well, and he was just excellent today as well. So definite positive signs for this Celtic team. And chatting to Lewis at half time as well, it seemed like they were missing a lot of players that were on international duty, the ones you probably heard of, the likes of Toby Oluwayemi, whose name I'm absolutely going to butcher in future, and Dane Murray, who's obviously already played for the senior team this season. Numerous other players as well, Bosun Lau, Rocco Vata. So Celtic were missing a few players today, and they still found a way to win. My overall kind of feelings on the day, we spoke about the crowd. I suppose it's not maybe a massive shock. I think when Celtic and Rangers were spoken about getting into the Lowland League or the lower leagues of the SPFL, a lot of people did have this feeling that the fans would rock up. Thousands of fans would rock up at these grounds. And it's just not the case. It's just a complete myth. It just doesn't happen. And I don't think the crowd today would have been much better had it been Elgin City or Berwick Rangers or someone like that Celtic were playing, as opposed to Broomhill today. So the crowds aren't going to do a massive lot for Scottish football. I don't really think it will bring much money to the Lowland League, if I'm honest. But from a selfish Celtic point of view, these players today are going to learn much more playing against teams like that than they will playing development matches. So I'm interested to see where it goes in the future. where Celtic will play next season, because as I said earlier, this is just a one season thing. But I would urge anyone, if they've got a spare Saturday or a midweek game and they're kind of at a loss to what to do, come down here to the Pennycar Stadium in Airdrie and watch the B team, because it feels quite good being able to watch a Celtic team that haven't made it yet, and a bunch of Celtic players who haven't made it yet. And listen, a lot of them that I watched today will never make it for Celtic, but there's probably 2 or 3 players that I saw today that will at least make first team appearances at some stage in the next few years. And it's nice to say you were there at the start. I think, again, what Lewis was saying, Celtic could probably do more to promote this kind of stuff. They could definitely get season ticket holders maybe free access to every game. I think that should be a thing. Same goes for the women's team as well. But listen, great afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different video today. We'll be back tomorrow when I'll be back in the studio full time. Don't know why I'm calling it a studio. It's literally just my living room. But thanks everyone for watching. Remember to subscribe below. We do really appreciate all the support, and we'll speak to you soon.